What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Chew on This. I am super duper excited to be welcoming someone that I have mentioned in previous videos, someone that has been on this show before, but you have not seen it. But this guy is awesome. This guy's been in the space for a very, very long time, and he just turned 30 recently. So happy late birthday, Eric. How you doing, man?
Thank you. I'm doing well. I'm so excited about this. I can't wait for you to. I know what happened already, but I know you're going to explain what happened last time. But I can't wait for you to do it. So I'm very excited to be doing this again for the first time, technically.
Again for the first time, 2.0.
Yes.
It's about to be a beautiful moment, man. First of all, how you been, dude? How's it going? I know you're at South by Southwest right now, or you're watching stuff for South by Southwest at
So
least.
yeah, I'm not there. It's not happening in person. And last year it was actually the first thing I was in Texas, ready to go, and
Mhm.
got shut down. It was I was traveling around in my van, and I got to Texas a little bit early, and it was one of the first things to get shut down. This year it's a fully online experience, and I actually booked an Airbnb with a nice home theater to enjoy all the movies. So I'm in the
Very
middle of doing
nice.
that.
Very nice, man. Do you
Yeah.
do you feel like this push to everything going to digital for these film festivals online, like, do you think that's gonna stay for very long? Do you think that's gonna
Mm,
be consistent or no? Once we
It
get opened
might
up.
become an additional thing. It might be
Mm,
a side hustle for these festivals, but I think so much of it, the festivals, so much of, especially I think of Sundance, maybe more so. Those are the ones I go to, really, is Sundance and South
yeah.
by. So those are the ones I can speak to, having gone to them in person and done the virtual experiences. Sundance, a big component of it is networking. I guess same with South by, but like Sundance is specifically like distributors and people that are trying to buy films and
Mhm.
sell their films and stuff, and that definitely requires like in-person
It needs
schmoozing.
that
So I
human
think,
connection for sure. Yeah.
yeah, like the parties are where that happens. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So I think that will continue in person, but I could see them. I mean, they just paid for like all the infrastructure, I guess, right, for the online
Yeah,
experience.
literally,
And
exactly. Why I wonder about
Sundance
that.
did it. Yeah, did a great job with it. So it seems almost like a waste to not use it in some capacity.
Mhm.
So I think would be really cool if it's more accessible to people at home. Some of the films, maybe like the award winners or something. I don't know.
Mhm.
Maybe things that don't get purchased by the end. Maybe they could say, hey, yeah, you can show us in the online thing maybe a week later. Who knows?
Mhm.
I could see it continuing, but not being the main version of it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the crazy thing about these recent times. We have no idea what the hell is going to be happening. Not even next month, 2 months from now. Everything's
Yeah, man,
changing. There's release dates,
I'm
all of it.
optimistic. I like to think I'll be
Yeah.
in person at these things again next year. I'm optimistic. But have you gone to any of these or no? I
See,
don't
no,
remember if you've been to
man.
these.
No, I have not. And see, that's exactly the problem and why I asked those questions, because you're a vet, dude. You've been doing this. We're going to get into it. I mean, you've seen
Yeah.
everything at Sundance before anybody, basically. So we will definitely get into
Yeah,
that.
for 2010 was the first time I went. Yeah, so it's been a
And
while.
you haven't missed a year, have you?
Mm. I missed a few years in the middle because I had no money. Like
Mm.
the well ran dry, and I was shit out of luck. And so, am I allowed to say shit out of luck?
You are absolutely allowed to, my friend.
Okay,
If,
I
if
was
that's
shit
how
out of
out of
luck.
luck you are, then you must you must make it known.
But wish I knew early on that you could volunteer at these things
Oh, really?
and attend for free if you volunteer. So once I figured that out, I got back into it. Now it's been a few years that I've been going.
Gotcha. Man, maybe I'll have to look
Yeah.
into that too. Maybe, it's time for some volunteering
Absolutely,
work.
dude.
Yeah, I gotta check out
Absolutely.
these
I got
flicks.
tips and tricks. I got tips and
For
tricks.
sure. I can't wait to hear them. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Let's get into our first interaction, dude, because
Oh,
this video, guys, has been a long time coming. When Eric and I
yeah.
when I first reached out to Eric, I was still in high school. I was
Damn.
I
When
was
was it? Do we remember?
Yes, this is January 2017. And right now I'm going to snap, and we're cutting to a clip right now of my very first time reacting to me losing the video of interviewing Eric on Chew on This. What's up, guys? Michael here, and I have some horrible, sad news. I have a smile on my face, but I feel horrible right now, actually. So, today, up until today, my third episode of Chew on This with Eric Striffler from Pretty Much It. We had an awesome conversation about his channel, about his passions and all that. And I checked today, about maybe like 15 minutes ago, and it's completely gone. It's as if it doesn't exist everywhere. I've posted the link, he's posted the link everywhere, people have shared it. It doesn't exist at all. Me and Eric hopefully will be talking again soon, so this will not be the last time you see us together on the channel. Thank you for subscribing. All you new subscribers, hello, welcome. I love you all. So there's that.
I remember, yeah, I remember that happening. That was so, God, yeah.
I gotta ask, what was that like? What was that whole experience? So you do remember? I was gonna ask you that. You do actually remember that whole experience happening?
Oh, I remember. And the thing was, what was weird was, and it's a good thing that we didn't do it again until now, because it would have been weird and maybe stilted if we like tried to do it again right away, because like we
For
just
sure.
talked, you know what I mean? Now there's new things have happened in our lives and stuff like that,
Yeah,
right? So we can talk
exactly.
about that. It would have been just like trying to recreate something that has already like if I lost a commentary track, I would just be like, we're not doing it.
Yep,
It's over. You
exactly.
can't recreate the magic
And
so quickly.
and
You know
that's
what I
why
mean?
it was so devastating, because it was like one of the first episodes of this show, and you were kind enough to
Of
hop on early on, and I was like,
course,
damn,
dude. Of course.
this is rough. I remember the moment I didn't see it anymore. It was like literally 2 days after I uploaded it too, and I was like, I don't even know how I could have done this. It for sure
It was
was
like
me.
a Hangout glitch or something, right? Was it like a Google Hangout or something? I forget.
Yeah, we recorded on Google Hangout, so that's why it
Right.
comes in as like a live stream right when you get it on YouTube. So
Yeah. Yeah.
somehow
And you'd
through that
never think
process,
to
it just
download it. Like you'd
exact
never think,
bro.
because it's supposed to be there. Why would it be gone? Why would it just
Exactly.
disappear? But yeah,
And such is the
we
nature
love
of the
Google
course.
Plus. We'll miss you, Google
It was
Plus.
a nice time being in the circles with you all, guys. It was lovely. Dude, that
What a
was right
mess.
before you took your van on the road, right? That was right before you took Mara on the road of January 2017.
Probably. Yeah. So that was January. So so that was the year that I got into everything van life related.
Okay, okay.
That was the year, and I got my van up August of that year, but I got the van life bug in May of that year. So yeah, it was not long after. That was yeah, that was the year. I was doing a lot of driving though, because I was seeing a great gal up in she was going to school in Toronto, and I was in New York City, and so Manhattan specifically. So I would drive. It was funny because I would take every opportunity to drive up to see her, and she would fly down to see me because she didn't want to drive, but I
Yeah.
just love driving. So I always joked like, most of this relationship is an excuse to drive, I guess, right? Like I'm like in this to drive. I'm joking, of course, but like it really was like I was so happy to have a reason to drive, you know, a few hours every couple of weeks, and so that was a lot of driving, and I think that started the sort of bug in my head.
Yeah. So once that bug started, what was like the final push to get you to do it? Because I remember when you announced it, I was like, oh damn, this is a big thing to do. Like seriously, it's a bold
Yeah.
task to undertake. So what made that final push to get you to do it?
There is a specific instance, actually. It was in May of 2017. I went to go see my buddy graduate in Michigan,
Mm,
and I guess I was up in Buffalo visiting a friend, and then drove down and around. No, you know what? I think I was still seeing that girl. So I was probably up in
back in
Toronto.
Toronto.
Pretty sure. Yeah, I think I was probably still up in Toronto,
Mm,
and then drove down, saw a friend in Buffalo, then drove all the way around up into Michigan, like Lansing, East Lansing, whatever it was, and saw my buddy graduate, surprised him. A couple of friends drove from Manhattan. I drove from there and met them,
nice.
and we surprised him, stayed for the weekend, super fun, and then um, they drove back the morning, like whatever, the end of that weekend, Sunday morning. And I decided to stay because The Leftovers was on. Remember The Leftovers?
I do. I do.
So
You're actually
The
the person that
Leftovers
got
was
me into
still
that
on.
show, dude. So I have to thank you for that
Hell
as
yeah,
well.
there you go. I want to say it was, I'll get super specific here since I can remember these details, but I want to say it was episode 4 of season 3 with the Take on Me ending with the
Oh,
you remember
dude.
that? Yeah.
Yes, of
Oh,
course. I missed that
incredible.
show.
It's
Yeah.
stuck in my head, man. I think that was the episode. If that checks out to have been released at the beginning of May 2017, then I'm right. So we'll have to have somebody fact check that
We'll
later.
fact check it.
But
We'll put it on the thing.
yeah,
We'll fact check it.
hopefully I'm right. I'm trusting my memory, and it's not always trustworthy. But the the episode ended, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to stay over. I'm just going to leave now and get a head start on the road. It was like a 11 or 12 hour drive, I think, something like that. And I was like, I'm just going to drive as far as I can tonight and see how far I can get. I ended up making it the whole way, all the way
Wow.
back to Manhattan with like a 20-minute power nap around like 5 a.m. or something like that.
My goodness.
And yeah, and I did it, and I got back to my apartment, and I was so impressed with myself. I was like, wow, I just did that drive. That
Yeah.
was quite a drive. And I love driving. It didn't bother me at all. And then I looked around my apartment and was immediately disappointed because I realized
Wow.
I could have driven all that amount of time in a different direction and gone on a new adventure. And I was like,
True.
I had to come back here. I was just really disappointed about it. And then I started thinking, do people just not live anywhere? And then I was like, do they live in vehicles? And this is stupid thinking because like, what did I forget that the 60s happened? Not that I was there, but like it was a very popular thing.
Listen,
like,
yeah,
a few
yeah.
decades ago. But so I didn't know about the modern van life at all. Hadn't heard a thing about it. Got this idea, Googled it, and then quickly found out that there's a lot of people doing it. And that was the beginning of the end, or
Wow.
the beginning of the beginning.
The beginning of a new chapter, a new book, you know?
Yes, literally, I could not forget about it. It was nonstop thinking about it. And just like within a week or so, I sat my family down and told them I was doing it. I was like, I don't know what this means, but I'm doing it.
What was their reaction to that, like that moment?
My dad thought it was and weird and interesting. My mom was a little nervous, and my sister thought it was disgusting because she first asked where I'm going to go to the bathroom, and I said, I don't know. I guess I'll find a bucket.
You have to make a place. You have to find a place. You know?
Yeah.
What you got to do in this life.
But they've all come around on it now that they see how
I'm sure. And you're still doing the van life, correct? You're still in Mara.
Still going strong with Mara. Yeah, she's. I'm in a transition period right now. Otherwise, I would offer to bring you out for a quick tour. But not much to see right now. My parents moved out of their place, and now I just have like a couple of boxes of my stuff that I left over there. You know, it's like it's basically like a storage unit right now. I'm in the middle of fixing it up. Yeah.
Gotcha. It seems to me, man, and from like being a fan of yours throughout the years too, once you get the bug, it's unstoppable. Whatever it may be. Whatever it may be.
For better or worse. Or sometimes if I lose the bug, that's a big thing that I wouldn't recommend people do on YouTube if you want to be successful, is like change what you do too much.
Yeah.
But I would do that a lot back in the day. Now I'm lucky that I've been enjoying doing commentary tracks, and that seems to be what's stuck. But yeah, if you've been watching long enough, you know, I would just like, excuse me, of course now I've got hiccups. I would just be changing things up maybe too often, and you lose a couple of people along the way every time you do that. So yeah,
really, did you find that?
Losing the bug.
Did you find that as you like, let's just say through like the evolutions of PMI, for example, the Friday show, did you feel like you were losing an aspect of your audience from changing so much?
I think the main thing is formats and people, because like at first it was just me doing stuff like whatever, over a decade ago, it was just me doing stuff. Then I brought in my friends, and people were like, we're not here for these guys, we're here for you. And then they loved those guys over time. And then those guys went away, and they were like, well, where did those guys go? We're here for them. And like new people joined in, and you know, whatever, like new audience members came in and knew them. And now all of a sudden they're gone. Then new people come in, and those people are like, we want the old people back.
Yeah.
And now people love the new people. And when a new person goes away, they're like, where did they go? So I think that with new people coming and going, that's where we lose and gain people. Definitely more gain than lose, but you know what, I've been lucky with that, knock on wood. But also changing the formats, going from reviewing movies only, you know, movie news, to then now I've got a buddy doing game reviews and stuff. Then we got someone doing music and tech and books, comic books and stuff. Then we have the Friday show, we have the Monday show, that goes away. Commentary tracks has become the main thing. Yeah, anyone that signs up for a while, anyone that signed up for a certain piece of content, you never knew how long you were going to get it for.
Yeah. That 2013 time, I remember like you guys were going big, man. I mean, I'm going to throw up a couple pictures and maybe some clips, like those themed reviews. Holy crap, man. I mean, obviously we were talking about PMI, like the evolution between the different iterations of that, but you've always been the type to never want to just do like movie reviews in a traditional sense. You've been saying that for years, and that's why you ended up stopping doing that, correct? It's just because it became too tedious after a while.
It became a little tedious. It became sort of like, you know, how much do I have to say here? Like, I'm not the type of person that wants to be, I didn't want to be a movie critic. Like that wasn't my dream. It was just fun. And it was an outlet for like teenage Eric into like my 20s to just like be able to talk about them. I just thought it was fun. And then like, as I got older, I was like, well, this isn't what I want to do. I don't really have much to say like other people that are actually good at this do, you know, and like there's people that are really good at actually doing that. The way that I'm good at it is just my personality. If you like me, that's the only thing. There's no like skill necessarily to what I was doing. It's more just like if you enjoy my presence, and that's not enough for that. I don't think. Like I think I have a lot of respect for a lot of like Chris Stuckman. I think of he knows what he's doing. You know what I mean? It's not that there's a right or wrong opinion, but you can present yourself really well, and he does, and he actually likes doing that and wants to do that. So it just kind of felt like, what am I doing? You know, I don't really know what else to say. I just want to watch these movies. I don't really care enough this isn't something I'm like super passionate about. And it was hard for people to understand that, I think, because it's like, a little confusing if you're just like on the outside looking in. But the nice thing about the commentary tracks that have continued, of course, those have been the longest running thing we've ever done, 2013 to today. Going to be 10 years. That's the longest time I've ever stuck to one type of content.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
It's insane.
That's crazy.
But they're still fun because that's not like a review or an analysis. It's comedy is way, way higher up for me in terms of interests than like criticism or anything. So,
and it's endless. You could say the possibilities of conversation are endless at that point.
Yes,
too. And that's why
there's always jokes you can make. It's not like reviewing movies where I kind of ran out of like, what the hell am I saying anymore? With jokes, we can always come up with new jokes. So yeah, so that makes more sense. I got into more of like, focusing on the comedy aspect of it, and I think that was the sweet spot.
Yeah, I relate to you in a big way. I think that's why I became such a big fan of yours, is because I relate to you in that sense of I love movies, love them.
Sure.
To sit down and have a discussion like you and me, have a couple beers and talk about some movies, I would love to. But, if you ask me to sit with you in front of a camera and let's review The Departed right now, I don't know exactly what I would say besides how much I love it. Yeah.
The end. Good movie.
Everyone in it is great,
Yeah.
And that's what I remember seeing, like, I guess you made like kind of like an analogy of it in your video in visual form when you put in like the little medicines like just on the conveyor belt line, just
like an assembly line.
Assembly line.
It was feeling like a movie comes in, I have to review it, it goes out. Like it just felt like a process that didn't have a lot of passion anymore. By the way, don't get me wrong, love while I'm on the road listening to movie reviews and movie podcasts and discussions, stuff like that. I love listening. I just don't feel like I have as much interest in I mean, like, I love talking about it. Like you said, certainly if we were just hanging out, it'd be great. But like in a structured way, like in a specific structured daily or weekly routine way, it didn't interest me as much.
Yeah, which is understandable. And like during that time, when did you think like I'm gonna call it? Was there a specific review where you're just like, I want to shift over to the new thing, the next thing?
Well, I remember for a while the thing was and you kind of mentioned it with like the themed reviews and stuff. For a while, it was more, I think I reviewed like every single movie they came out in like 2012 or 2013 or something. Like there was 1 or 2 years where I did every single movie that came out. And that was interesting because that was a challenge. You know what I mean? Like that was, that made it fun for me. Like it made it fun to make it a challenge. But then that's when that kind of died off. Like I was like, all right, I did it. What's next? Then we started doing the themed reviews, if I remember correctly. My memory serves. Then we started doing the themed reviews. I was like, all right, let's shake this up a little bit. Let's get ourselves excited again. Then changed it to like a podcast format. Try to get excited about it again. Then I briefly was doing the double me and myself talking reviews.
Yes.
So that was another thing where I was like, we didn't really know. The Friday show had come to an end, and I was like, I don't really know what the hell is pretty much it exactly. Like, I didn't dawn on me that it could just be commentary tracks like that. That still felt like a side thing, and I was like, what's the main thing? I started doing like a Q&A kind of thing, and then those double reviews, and that was another attempt at like, do I just need to shake this up and I will enjoy continuing to do it, or am I just not into this and like let's just move on from it? And so eventually it was like, these things, these challenges, these interesting parts of it are short-lived for me. And like once I feel like I've gotten what I want out of it, then it's like on to the next thing. And I was like, maybe I shouldn't be on to the next thing with movie reviews at all anymore. Like maybe we just call it.
Yeah, we've all been there too. I mean, come on now. Yeah. When Camp PMI was the last iteration of pretty much it, I want to say, for the Friday show, I believe, right?
Well, we went back and did it. We did a reprisal of it.
Yes,
so I think
that
was probably it.
For the end. Yeah.
That was like that was technically summer of maybe 2013 that we actually did Camp PMI.
Yeah.
And then there were a few years in the city. So I want to say maybe in like
Hot Dog Studios, like you guys had the subway set
like
for a while.
2015, yeah. And then 2016, I want to say, it was maybe when we did the Camp PMI sort of like reunion tour almost. And then that was it. So yeah, like the second Camp PMI, I think was the last time we did it formally like that.
Yeah. Before I touch on like that last episode that you guys did, what would you say is like what was the hardest transition between evolutions of that show? Because it went from like small to big to big to big to big to big through every iteration basically.
So that's easy. It was the subway set, the one that lasted for maybe an episode, or was it more than
I
one?
think it was only 1 or 2 episodes, maybe. Yeah. And you guys took
Yeah,
it out in the
geez.
beginning of the next episode or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And the reason for that is because we built this set. I had delusions of grandeur that I'd find a space in New York big enough, Manhattan or Brooklyn. I was looking all over the place. I was living in Brooklyn at the time. The reason it was a difficult transition is because I moved into the city. And I was like, well, we want to keep this going though. So, I'll pay for you guys, Jake Baldino and Mike Peterson. I was like, I'll pay for you guys to come into the city. Like obviously you don't have to pay out of pocket for that. I'll pay for you guys to come into the city and we'll record it in the city. I'll find us a space. We'll record this once a week, blah, blah, blah. And the set that we built was too big, like physically too big, and it wouldn't fit. I thought that I'd be able to find a space where it would fit, but I don't know what I was thinking. Like, the budget was not big enough to find a space like that. And so like where we wound up was Hot Dog Studios was a pretty small little room. Like that would never fit in there. And so that was the toughest transition because I had this whole idea, and what the set that you saw was kind of like the temporary version because we were going to take it apart and move it into the city. That was still out on Long Island, that what you saw.
Yeah.
And it never even made it off of Long Island. It never made it out of my parents' garage.
Wow.
So that was tough. That was difficult. It was tough because I liked the idea and I had a lot of cool plans for it. But it was, and then it was also, so it was tough just like personally, but then tough literally and physically because we just couldn't do it. We couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then by the point that when you got to that final episode, what were your thoughts like? I mean, obviously you're ready to move into commentary tracks by that point, I would assume. Yeah.
Yes and no, because at that point it was still, the focus was Jake and Mike. It was me, Jake and Mike. And so in my mind, we were the ones doing the commentary tracks together. And again, it didn't really dawn on me what these could be, that they could be the same way that pretty much it always was, where it was me and my friends. Because the commentary tracks came around while it was me, Jake and Mike doing the Friday show.
Yeah.
So I looked at it as like a me, Jake and Mike thing and not as a pretty much it thing, which was just, that could be me and any of my friends.
For sure.
And so once there was a lull for a while where I didn't realize that from like end of 2016, maybe like mid 2016 to mid 2017. No, I actually the commentary tracks went a little later into 2016 with Jake and Mike, but there was maybe half a year or so of no commentary tracks. And then I realized, wait a minute, I can get my buddy Miles, my buddy Jacob, my sister Jillian. I think Christian from the Wangers was on one that year. And I was like, I could do these with anybody. Like these are just fun regardless. Yeah. And obviously it wound up taking off and everybody's loved them. Once we focused on one thing, that's when it kind of took off instead of me constantly changing things and having multiple shows going on.
Yeah.
So
what was that moment, just waking up and realizing like, oh, the gears are turning on this big time. And what's the next step now? Yeah.
Crazy, dude. I was in my van in my spot that I usually park in LA, which by the way, if you're getting into van life, don't park in the same spot all the time. You don't want to annoy people. However,
I'm sure
if you happen to find a spot where nobody truly cares, then you're probably okay. And I happen to find that spot. So I have my own spot in LA that I always go back to, and no one has ever said a word. I will stay there like through the winter. I have a feeling I'm parked in an area where there's a lot of people that are younger, and younger people aren't bothered by who's parked on the street. You know what I mean? You like the generation above, like our parents' generation would be like, who's
that guy out there?
Nobody cares under that certain age. You know what I mean? So nobody seemed to mind. But point being, I woke up and I checked, and I guess I just looked at the subscriptions or something. I don't know what it was, and I saw that we gained a whole lot overnight. And we were getting near to 100,000 subscribers because we had, I don't know, in like the 70s, 80s for a couple of years. And but again, in fairness, that's when it would go up because we're making content, and then I would change it and it would go back down. It would go up and it would go down.
For sure.
So that's on me, totally on me. It's kind of nice to be aware of that, at least to know what worked and what didn't.
Looking back on it and knowing what exactly.
Yeah. To be able to analyze it is good. My business partner always likes to analyze things, so it's good that we can actually look back and see those things and know what'll happen going forward.
Exactly.
But so the first thing I thought to myself though was like, whoa, one of our videos is taking off, and it's with current people. You know what I mean? It's not a Jake and Mike thing.
Not
so
classic,
I was like, let me get rid of all content before this year, like before the new crew joined, quote unquote. Let me hide it, because then otherwise it's going to be the same fucking problem that I always had, where people are going to sign up and be like, what is this? I'm signing up because I like this video with this guy. Who are these guys? Who's that? His sister? She's a part of this? Like, so I would like, she was part of the new crew, so she could stay, you know what I mean? But like anyone that wasn't on anymore, I was like, this stuff needs to get unlisted immediately so that people know exactly what they're subscribing for, and they will be encouraged to actually subscribe and not be confused about what they're signing up for. So that was my very first thought. When I saw things starting to take off, I was like, okay, I got to act fast. And I went to a coffee shop immediately and just did like, show 100 results
the
per
mass
page
click
in the videos, mass click, private or unlist, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think it paid off. I think it was a mix of luck, because like the algorithm obviously picked up one of our new videos, the Sky High video with Jacob, picked it up. And so I called him up. I called up AJ, my business partner. I called everybody up and I was like, I'm going to do this. Okay. Do I have the sign off? And they were like, yes, do it. Good idea. Let's see what happens. And it was one of those things where it's like, yeah, you have luck, but then you got to know what to do with that luck. You know what I mean? When all of a sudden you have it. And I think both of those things combined worked really, really well for us.
Yeah. And it's crazy because, like I said, being a fan of you guys for like, and you specifically for even longer than PMI was a thing, it's insane to see like all of a sudden I see people like from my high school just like tweeting your guys' videos out. Like, what?
Insane.
Yeah.
And seeing like new faces, like I recognize you and like in a bunch of other different names and faces over the years. And now there's so many new people that I recognize that like have never been around, like that weren't around for the past decade. It's so crazy.
Yeah, that kind of leads into one of the questions I was going to ask later, but it's perfect time to ask it now. What do you think? Like you've been one of the longest in the game to do it. What makes those guys stay and what makes the others not, because I guess
you
part
talk
of
about
it is
other creators.
Yeah, because I guess part of it is following trends. Oftentimes we see a lot of creators and even you and I have probably been guilty of doing that at times and being a creator, right?
Sure.
Following the trend.
Sure.
But what keeps that fire under you? That's like, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing and not stop.
It's honestly the fact that you got to keep in mind when I started doing this, there was no money in it or anything like that. YouTube wasn't a thing. YouTuber wasn't a thing. It was just a website for people who wanted to upload videos to be able to easily upload videos. And that's all it was. I was always the kid. I was always, the kid from when I was little making films and stuff, but like nowhere to put them. I would just sit my family down and show them, you know what I mean? Films, quote unquote, you know what I mean?
For sure.
And I was like recreating scenes from Star Wars with my best friends in like, fourth grade. And then I was recreating Harry Potter and Signs, just like making remakes of my favorite movies and stuff.
Yeah.
And just doing, and then like we're done with it and we move on and we do nothing with it after that. And so as soon as I was able to upload these things, I was like, oh, cool. Now I can actually show people. And, this is just something that I enjoy doing. This is fun. And then the money came around a few years later, and then it became like a potential job for people. Yeah. Like there's kids growing up now that are like in high school. It's like, if you ask you can ask a little kid, not even in high school, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they could say a YouTuber. And it's
crazy.
Like, what the hell?
Freaking crazy.
So that's the thing. I did it. And a lot of people did it around that time. Well, everybody did it at the time I'm talking about, just because we enjoyed doing it.
Yeah.
And then it became a potential job, quote unquote, or a career, or whatever you want to call it. And that changed. Then people would join for that reason. So I think the reason I've stuck around, and a lot of people have stuck around that have been around that long, are because, it is because I think if you're doing it because you just enjoy doing it, then it doesn't really matter if you have highs and lows necessarily. Like the lows aren't going to sway you. You're still going to keep doing it. And that's why you're going to stick around. You know what I mean? Like you kidding me? Like I was getting hundreds of millions of views a decade ago, maybe like 2008, 2009, 2010.
Those prank videos blew
up.
Videos,
but then also like on Eric with no K, my channel before Pretty Much It, was getting like hundreds of millions and it's stupid videos and stuff. You know what I mean? Like a lot of clickbaity stuff too, but like that's just like that was the name of the game back then as well.
Exactly.
It's nothing different, it's always been the same. But still like tons and tons of views. And then over most of the last decade, it shrunk back down. And a lot of that, like I said, is because I changed things up, whether it's because I brought in new people that others didn't really care about and didn't give a chance, or because I changed up the content. But I stuck around because I was just enjoying doing it. and I stuck around long enough for like a second wave now. You know what I mean? Like this is I would call this the second wave of success or whatever you want to call it. And then and like give it a couple of years and we'll be in a lull again. You know, but if I stick around, then there might be another wave. So it's really just a matter of if you actually enjoy doing it. If you're going to give up when you hit a low, and if you're not enjoying it, then obviously you're not going to stick around long enough because it's going to happen. It happens. It just happens.
It does happen. I mean, I mentioned it in one of my previous episodes. I hit a big, like last year was just so tough. There's no way I could even make videos. If you're not having fun doing it, it's impossible. You can't fake it.
What's the point, man?
And people will tell. People will know. They can see it on you.
Easily. Very easily. They can tell when you're just cranking stuff out. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know if this is crazy or not, like if people would believe this or not. Because to me it's not crazy, but I read every single comment that we get on YouTube still. Like I believe you go to little comment section, but like it's not so many that I can't read them. And like I worked hard on these video edits, so it's like I want to see what people have to say.
Yes.
And so I'm still enjoying it. I feel like once you maybe lose, not obviously you can't, if you get to a certain level, you can't read every single comment. I get that,
Yeah.
But until it's too much, I'm absolutely going to be doing that. And I feel like once you lose that thrill, that's a problem. When you lose like the investment from your side,
of course,
in the people that are invested in you, I think that's also a problem. So it's the interest, the fact that you're having fun doing it, all those things I think are the reason that people have stuck around for sure.
Yeah, and I think too, like by reading every comment, that's why you're successful and that's why so many people love you, bro, is because you're in tune with the audience. You know what I mean?
I know what everybody's saying. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what everybody's saying.
Yeah. You're getting all the vibes, but
for better or worse, obviously someday, sometimes.
Of course.
Actually, no, these days I would say for the most part, and maybe it's just like YouTube's got good moderation skills these days where like I don't see the negative comments as much, but it's mostly positive stuff. And even the negative ones aren't just like blanket negative. Like they are critical in a way that I'm like, I see where they're coming from. You know what I mean? Like they didn't like this video and I get it. They're like, you guys are too loud. And we are. That's true, but you're not wrong.
Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta own it, man. It makes you.
Yeah, I don't mind reading that stuff too. It's not just people calling you names as much these days. Or again, maybe it's just because the moderation tools are better now. But
yeah,
who knows?
I think partially it is the times have changed, and partially it has to be moderation has to have improved somewhat. But yeah, back in the day, people would just say the wildest stuff in the comments, man.
Insanity. People today wouldn't even believe that happened. I don't think they would believe the comments that came in, and it was like totally normal back then too to get
completely
like, the worst words constantly thrown at you, and you just like take it and you're like whatever.
Yeah, and it just
super weird.
It has to roll off the back, and that has to be like part of this game too. I think that's what makes creators stay in this game is just you have to have a thick skin, and it's tough sometimes. Yeah. It's brutal. It's brutal. Do you have any moments that you can recall where like I don't want to do this anymore? Maybe due to a reaction or due to just lack of just the fire?
Oh, lack of the fire, sure. Never ever from any comments or anything like that. Never. I don't know if it's because I started so young that it got like I got over that stuff so early in my life. Being called all those names and stuff like that. I think I always knew I was like, I don't know who these people are. Who gives a shit what they're saying? Yeah. Like you don't know me. They're like, you're this, you're that, and I'm like, who are you? So that stuff never bothered me at all. And there's never been any, aside from just name calling, never a lot of like super negative response or anything. But yeah, definitely the fire. I mean, right before inviting in like the people from the new crew to restart commentary tracks again, it was like a defibrillator. You know what I mean? And right before that, though, there was a little element of, for sure. I was like, what the hell? I don't know what this is. Like, I don't want to let this die because there's something magical here. And all the people are so great in the audience and stuff, all the people I've met. And so I was like, there's got to be something, but damn it, what is it? And then for some reason, I don't know why it took me so long to realize that the commentary tracks were the obvious thing that could like live on. But right before that was like probably the lowest point where I was like, is this the end of it? I don't know. I don't know what to do. And then all of a sudden it smacked me in the face. It was so obvious.
But in your,
you know what it was? I watched 13 Reasons Why with the girl I was dating up, going to school up in Toronto. And I literally was like, commentary tracks for 13 Reasons Why. And that's sort of like that reinvigorated the whole thing. Has
there ever been like a show or a movie where you guys are watching on the commentary track and you're like, man, I wish I didn't watch this and we're doing commentary on it? Or is it always just a blast, no matter what it is? I mean, I'm sure it's always fun, but is there ever like that aspect of, I wish I could just enjoy this as a singular experience more so?
No, not in the sense, the opposite actually. I'll be
Okay.
watching something once in a while. I'll be watching something without doing commentary, and I'm like,
Mm,
damn it, this would have been a really good
yeah,
commentary track. But now I've seen it already. You know what I mean? Like,
I
ah,
feel you.
shoot.
Yeah,
But watching movies and TV shows, if we're really enjoying it, like The Boys is a show that I would watch on my own. It's really
absolutely.
good, but it doesn't bother me at all that we're doing commentary tracks over it. Because I feel like I'm still in it. I wouldn't have done it for like something like The Leftovers. That's totally
For
different,
sure. Of course.
but we're not. I wouldn't pick a drama like that anyway. It would be The Boys is like a fun, good show, and it works for this format. Um, there's definitely been sometimes though this show Cursed last year
Mm,
with what's her face from 13 Reasons Why. It
yeah.
was a Netflix show, and Miles and I did commentary tracks for it, and that was one where we were like, this was a mistake because it was bad. Like it was so boring.
Yeah, I saw the first two episodes
So
of it. It was terrible.
did you even finish? Or wait,
No,
with us, with our tracks, or just on your own?
with you guys, and I still.
Yeah, you couldn't even. Yeah, but isn't that funny that it's like, hey man, we're putting out
Yeah,
the content. We I think are still providing the same amount of laughs. But if the show is that bad, I know a lot of people are like, look, I love you guys. I can't even watch this
it's
show.
tough, dude. Some of these
I
shows
don't
lately.
blame them. I don't blame them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure, and I'm sure this has been requested of you a million times at this point, and I know that you're not going to do it. Knowing at least your taste, I could be wrong. There's no desire to do a Snyder Cut 4-hour commentary track, is there?
No, no, and you know what's funny? So that's mainly just because I'm just not specifically interested in that universe of films really as much. So
Yeah,
I'm just not. It's not on my radar in general. It's nothing against Snyder. Good for him. I'm glad that he got to make his movie, and I'm
yeah,
so glad that the fans are into it and excited.
yeah,
Seems like everybody's loving it.
absolutely.
Great. I got no problem with that. I'm definitely not like an anti person in that regard. It's literally just like not interested in it. But that's ridiculous though. My business partner probably wishes I was because man, we'd be making bank.
I'm sure.
We'd be making
Yeah,
bank. There's
everyone's
definitely
trying to see
shows
it.
and movies. There's shows and movies that come around and it's like, man, I know that we would make so because I mean I'm running a business. So
Of
obviously
course,
making money is the point of a business.
of
As much
course.
fun as I'm having, that is the point. Um uh and so luckily he's the one that worries about the money stuff. I can just do all the fun stuff. But yeah, we're definitely sometimes like it's a shame that I can't just shut my brain off and do things that I have no interest in doing just to get that bag.
I feel
you
like,
know,
dude, if you had to get through that one, that would be a rough one to do. I
it,
mean,
yeah,
yeah,
probably. I mean, it's a long. What is it? 4 hours, right? Yeah, it's
4 hours,
pretty freaking
man.
long.
I'm
Yeah.
even watching it in parts right now. I don't think there's gonna be at least on this first run through. I
You
don't
got
think
to
it's gonna
stand up
be in
and
one
stretch
go.
your legs.
Yeah, some bathroom breaks in between. But I gotta say, dude. I mean, you mentioned feeling bad slightly about not realizing that those commentary tracks are hitting. But when we look back at your track record as an individual, as a creator, you're ahead of the curve on so many things. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Movie Pass, Patreon, and Letterbox are three things that blew up in the
Oh,
past 5
Letterbox.
years.
That's funny.
Dude,
Letterbox. I never knew that was a thing that would
oh,
be considered that I was on it early. That's funny.
I remember you talking about that way back too, and then just seeing all this stuff now. It's like, I don't know if Eric realizes that he could be like influencing a ton of people here. I don't know.
Well, you know what the problem is? I've seen people say, I appreciate that. I appreciate all that. It's so funny. I wish I could capitalize on these things at all. You know, like, I need to get into investing. I need to get into investing or something here. I'm clearly I'm able to pick them in some capacity, right? But then on the other hand, MoviePass dead. Pebble, my favorite watch company, gone. Got bought out by Fitbit. So it's like, I was a member of a Simple Bank. They just got bought out, so I had to move to a new bank. Like all the little like fringe things that I love, which Letterboxd and MoviePass and Patreon started as fringe things that became huge. Half of them continue and become huge, and half of them die. So I mean, you never know.
Yeah. What was it like to pitch that
yeah.
Patreon model initially? Like, were people on board with it? You feel like the fans were on board with it pretty quick?
Oh,
because you're one of the first,
it was
for sure.
weird. It was weird. Yeah. Well, we were in the very first year that Patreon launched. Yeah. As soon as I saw what it was, I was like, I described it as, oh, it's like ongoing Kickstarter. That's cool for like ongoing projects. I like this. Like, I don't have any one and done projects that I can really use Kickstarter for as much, but Patreon, I've got a recurring project. This is interesting. And so, yeah, it was difficult at the time to explain it because especially back then it was all about support. It was like, hey, support our show and we're going to keep doing it and blah, blah, blah. It was not the way we treat it now, whatever. halfway through, we started treating it more as a subscription service. Like they are the ones that run our subscription, or they're the platform we use to run our own subscription service for commentary tracks. But it's not about support now. You know what I mean? Like we're running a business. You don't need to support us necessarily. Like that's not the right way to look at it. You know what I mean? Like, because your support gets you a product in return. You know what I mean? It's not just
exactly,
hey, if you enjoy watching our videos and listen to our commentary tracks, throw us a couple of bones. You're literally paying for a product. And so at the time though, it was weird to explain like, we put this thing out for free, but if you enjoy it, maybe you give us money after the fact. Like it's the opposite. It was the opposite of what you expect, where you pay for something and then you get to see it. It was like, you get to see this for free and now pay us. But I think that worked for a while. That was really interesting. And it did take some time to catch on in general, but also, with our audience, I think it was over the course of that first year that it started to really catch on. And of course, having I don't know why it took me so long to realize that the commentary tracks were really the best thing we had going, because the commentary tracks were the thing that a lot of people were signing up for specifically. They were like behind the paywall, if you will.
Yeah.
Because we started doing commentary tracks in March of 2013. 2013. And then Patreon came a little bit later that year, and commentary tracks, you can either buy them individually or get them on Patreon, just like today. Yep. So I think most people were joining for that reason, and that helped us to sort of explain like the value of it. Like, well, you get the show for free, but you also get this, this, and this. It was a little difficult to explain at first, but obviously, man, oh man, of all the things that I've picked early on, that one really took off.
yeah. And it's crazy. Like I said, it's just so crazy to see all these things just pick up, and like people that have no idea, like I'm sure there are some people that are watching this right now that we were talking about the Friday show, they have no idea what we're even talking about, which is insane.
Maybe, yeah. I try to talk about it. I mean, I'm sure you saw Jake and Mike back on for, we did a Back to the Future 3 commentary track, and I just had Mike on to do Insidious 4, kind of keeping these franchises going that we started almost a decade ago. Yeah, and so that's been great, and I try to talk about the old stuff when I can, just so that people understand, because I shot myself in the foot a little bit. I'm glad I did it when I got rid of all the old content, so that it would look very clear what we were doing and what people were subscribing for. Yeah. Like, I wanted to make it look like the current crew is the main crew. You know what I mean? Like this is pretty much it. Not that it's ever been anything else. I don't want to confuse anyone, but then it looked like we only started in like 2017. You know what I mean? It was kind of weird. And so it's been very nice to be able to go back. And now I'm slowly like bringing some of the old stuff back. I don't know if you've seen it, bringing old content back from the grave,
which is awesome.
And it's so fun because I feel much better now being able to be like, okay, people can see that we've been doing this for a long freaking time. Like I'm not gonna lie, I would be, having done it for as long as I've done it, I'd be a little embarrassed if anybody thought that like I only just jumped into this thing after seeing other people doing it and joined only like in my late 20s when I first thought to do this. So it's a little embarrassing because I know that I've been around for so much longer. And so it does feel really good to be bringing all that stuff back now.
Dude, yeah, it is so cool. When I found out that you guys like put up a whole site that we just watch all the old stuff, it's like, yo, man.
Yeah. And that's going to be integrated very soon. That will be integrated into just the current site. Like we're working on a website that is just pretty much it. It's everything. It's all this old stuff.
That's awesome, man. In terms of like talking about that old stuff, one of the big projects that you were working on during that time of PMI that I was a massive fan was It Happens Fast. I want to know, man.
Yes, my short film.
Yes, which was awesome, by the way.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Super duper awesome. And your philosophy of anything that you could shoot on, you got to shoot it. If you got a camera, you got a webcam, you got a phone, you could shoot on it. And
like don't overthink it, just do it. Just
exactly.
Do something.
Exactly. And that's something like you see, once again, there's another thing now that you see full movies filmed on iPhones now. Insane. Crazy.
Insane. I just was I was recording something earlier today, and I never have like the 4K turned on my phone, my phone, because I don't need to, but I was clicking through it just out of curiosity, like going through the features and stuff, and I was like, I forgot that this thing shoots in 4K.
Yep.
That is insane.
It's insane.
It's ridiculous.
It's insane. Yeah. And even back then, what were you shooting on back then?
I mean, if I was using, like It Happens Fast was probably, I think it was shot on a 5D Mark II. You remember that was like the hot thing. But even anything that I shot just with my phone, it was like, that was probably like 1080 tops, right? Yeah. I mean, I'm still a 1080 baby. Like I don't care. I don't need anything fancy than that. My eyes are not good enough. I need glasses anyway, so I don't care. But but yeah, I mean, it's amazing now though that yeah, back then you could shoot a film on a phone even without the 4K and stuff like that. Now forget
Mhm.
about it. Now you got a better phone in your pocket or sorry, a better camera in your pocket than
Yeah.
most people have in a regular camera probably.
Yeah. I mean, and now with the technology as good as it is, all you need is a phone, Eric. Are we ever going to see more shorts or more, creative pieces, or are we focusing more on like this right now, the YouTube,
You
Patreon,
know,
commentary tracks?
personally, so filmmaking and stuff like that, definitely less interested in it these days, but
Mm,
more interested in live theater, as I've always been.
yeah.
But that's something that is more interesting to me. I don't know why exactly, but it just I think maybe it was because when I was younger, maybe I was always more interested in that. But when you're younger, like it's easier to make like videos and short films and stuff like that, not live theater productions,
Mhm. Of
obviously.
course.
But now as an adult, I'm able to produce those things. I mean, like even 10 years ago, I was producing like live theater productions and stuff to some extent, but uh that came later, so if like when I was a little kid, I started making films. Once I turned, I don't know, like 18 or 19 or 20 or something like that, I
Mhm.
was able to start doing theater stuff or producing theater stuff. And now that has gestated long enough to where I'm like, oh, maybe this is more the thing that I'm interested in. So, not against film and stuff like that. Like
For
I love
sure.
it, but definitely my mind. I think I'm leaning more toward like I'm looking forward. If I had to pick right now, if someone said, "Hey, we'll give you a budget to make a film or a theater production," I would 100% dive on the money for the theater production.
Gotcha.
So that's where I'm at right now for sure.
Any ideas, any original stories that you got in your head ready cooking up for it?
Yeah, on both sides really, but
Mm.
again, more interested in the theater stuff. But yeah, no, I do have I have to, I'm gonna just say it now because I don't know if I've ever said it anywhere, so I want to have it out there like
Oh,
so that it'll
dope. All right.
manifest and I can do it. But I
Please.
do have, as far as film goes, I do have a jukebox musical that I've wanted to make for a long, 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 long
Dude,
time.
please.
Super random.
No, because I at least say something real quick. We just did a Valentine's Day episode of the show a couple weeks back, obviously, and I just watched Moulin Rouge for the first time since high school.
Oh, there you go,
Give us
jukebox
more jukebox
musical.
musicals, Eric, please, please.
I have an interesting idea for a jukebox musical. I would love to do it someday, but again, that's just like it's an idea that I have, and it's not like something that I'm like pursuing
Mm,
necessarily. It's just I think it'd be cool. And then it's the type of thing where I wouldn't be so precious about it. Like I would love to just like explain it to somebody else, and they could use that idea kind of deal.
yeah.
And then but no, as far as theater goes, there I'm sure if you've been around long enough, you know of
Pity.
Nyctophobia
Oh,
from over the years.
I was gonna say
But
pity applause, but
also Pity Applause,
Nyctophobia.
but
Yeah.
yeah, Pity Applause will come back at some point for sure. I love my business partner and I specifically love the idea of like the structure of it, just way too much to get rid of forever. But if it comes back, I wouldn't be on stage. I'd be behind the scenes. I think
Gotcha.
Lee and everybody agrees. Like I think most of us agree we would rather be behind the scenes and have like other maybe better, I don't want to say better or more talented because that sounds like I'm like digging at me and my friends that were in the show,
Mm,
but people that are more focused on the performance,
gotcha.
whereas we
Yeah,
were back and forth between performing and writing. I'd rather write for people and let them, do that.
for sure.
But Nyctophobia is the one that I'm definitely most enthusiastic about getting back to at some point very soon.
Awesome, because that's actually a question I had on there, and that's why I was surprised that you actually mentioned it because I wasn't sure if you would. Dude,
Oh yeah,
because I always wanted to go. That's the whole thing. I've always wanted to go in my
I
youth when you
know.
guys were plugging every year. It's a once in the year thing. For those that don't know, Eric literally had a haunted house. Was it in Long Island, somewhere in Long Island?
Yeah, 2010 started in 2010 in Long Island, and by the time it started as a haunted house on Long Island back in 2010, and then by the time the last one we did, it became not a haunted house so much as like this immersive theater
Experience.
experience
Yeah.
that was in Manhattan in 2016. So like we moved from Long Island to Manhattan, and it really evolved, and I would love to bring that back. That's
Yeah,
that's
that
definitely
would be
top of my
sick.
list.
That would be sick. I would love to see it,
And
man.
you'd have to come and see it.
I
Yeah.
would, at this point, if I have to make the trip out there to go see it, man. Because wow, I remember seeing even like the sets from back in the day. You just get a bunch of your friends to just go do it. It's like, man, how was that
Same as
experience? I
usual,
gotta
man. It's all
ask,
just
dude.
me and my friends, man. I just love to do a bunch of stuff with my friends. That's all it ever is.
And that first year, what was that experience like? Like, obviously, coming up with the idea is probably the easy part. Putting it together and doing it for the first time. I mean, how's that?
Well, it was, I had all my friends were interested in helping because we had been doing this thing called the Spooky Walk prior to that.
Okay.
My buddy Kevin and I were doing an existing haunted attraction, let us create an exhibit there.
Okay.
And so we were doing that, and we already had a bunch of friends that loved helping us with that. And so when we told them we're going to do our own thing, well, Kevin went away to college, so he wasn't able to be a part of Nyctophobia when it started. But nowadays, obviously he would love to be involved in it. We'd get the gang back together. But but yeah, like all my friends and stuff that helped us with that were like, so we can do whatever we want. Like this is really our thing.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And so, and it was the same guys. I mean, like, Mike Peterson's been in it, Jake Baldino, Paul Gabriolini, Joe Sergio, like all the usual suspects that you see on pretty much it, and Kevin Spellman was the guy that I was working with originally. And, so it was a group that was very excited to do it. Luckily I had YouTube money coming in, so I was able to actually create cool things. And, yeah, that first year was crazy. The first year I found out very early on that we weren't going to be allowed to do it. Like when we went to get permits and stuff like that, they were like, yeah, no, if you're, this event, this is a whatever, like a public ticketed event, and you need to do this, and this, and you can't do it in this building. This building's not good. You're not going to be good for this, blah, blah. But like we'd already planned it and built it, and not planned it and built it, but planned it at least.
Yeah.
And we were so far in, and I was like, well, I already know what I want to do. What if we just don't charge admission? And they were like,
crazy.
Well, then we have no jurisdiction. If it's not a ticketed public event, we have no jurisdiction.
Listen, there's not money involved, death and safety, it don't matter.
Yeah, yeah, literally doesn't matter. Yeah. So not that it wasn't safe, you know what I mean?
Of course, yeah.
But it was more just like, jumping through like regulatory hoops. Like it had to be like, okay, it had to be like, one of the things is like, the walls had to be certain like width apart and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, but what if we want to make it spooky and small? You know what I mean? So, and a lot of that is like ADA compliance and stuff like that, which of course I understand, but like you wouldn't be able to, there was a part where you had to crawl. If you had a wheelchair, you wouldn't be able to go through that part anyway.
Yeah.
So the walls don't need to be able to fit a wheelchair because, you know what I mean? Like there was a lot of specific stipulations that like, it didn't really make sense. It was a lot of confusing stuff at the time. Nowadays, I understand that stuff more. Over time, obviously, we knew ahead of time and planned with these things in mind. And nowadays we could create an event that is compliant with everything and wouldn't be an issue. But at the time, I'm like 18 or 19 years old. I'm so far along with planning it. I was like, I guess we're just doing this for free.
Crazy.
That's not really much else I can do. I'm not shutting it down.
At that point, you can't. No chance in hell. No chance in hell.
So over the next few years, like whatever, I buy like in 2011, I remember like we worked with the town ahead of time, and like we actually had somebody come and like take a look. And like the fire marshal and stuff like that, like he came by and looked and approved everything. So it was done properly, and we were able to charge admission, and that was great. So we learned pretty quickly.
Awesome, man. Yeah. I can't wait to see what the next chapter of Nyctophobia is going to be. It's going to be sick.
I can't wait either.
It's going to be sick. It would be an injustice if I had you on this show, and I think everyone would be pissed off if I didn't talk at least a little bit of movies with you, as much as we love getting to know you, brother. But you know, we got to talk to films, man. So we got to ask, when did that love for film start in your life?
It's funny because I think it came to me just somehow on my own, because I didn't specifically grow up like being shown films in the sense of like, you got like someone that'll show their kids the classics or something like that, like a film lover who has a kid and then like, inspires them to love film. My parents love going to the movies like normal people love going to the movies. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a specific film interest, is whatever. My mom's more of like a sports person, and I didn't latch onto sports at all. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So for some reason I went the route of movies really, really young. And I do remember my parents being like, you guys got to watch Back to the Future to me and my sister, stuff like that, of course. But it wasn't like, and now you got to watch The Godfather. It wasn't like going down the list of making sure we saw the classics. It was just like, here's some fun movies here and there. Here's E.T. Oh yeah, kids love E.T. So it just kind of came naturally to me, and I loved it. And then certainly wanting to make them. I remember one of the earliest inspirations, I think, for wanting to make my own stuff was I was so inspired by seeing Spider-Man in theaters as a kid.
Yeah.
When I was like 10 years old or whatever. Was that 2002? So I was maybe 10 or 11 years old probably. And I was already into it to a point, but that really, like, I left the movie theater and I remember thinking to myself, like, first of all, I want to be Spider-Man. Second of all, I want to make things that made me feel the way that I just felt. Like I was so thrilled by that.
Yeah.
That was so, I mean, I didn't know the words at the time, riveting. Probably I didn't say that when I was 10, but looking back, it's like those were the sensations I felt, and those were the sensations that I wanted to give to other people. Because that's really all I mean, you've been watching long enough. I feel like that's a big component of anything I do, is just like just any emotion, whatever emotion it is.
Yeah.
Obviously, currently laughter is the big thing that we're producing right now, I guess, which is awesome. But I also love in our commentary tracks. I'm so proud that like I cry if something's
Dude,
sad, and like
yeah,
other people
man.
are like, oh my God, like wow, why am I crying watching this comedy thing? And it's like, because we could all feel everything at all times. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? So that's what it's always been about for me. And at the time, film was like the way to do it in my mind. I didn't go to music, I didn't go to art, or no, I mean, it's all art, but I didn't go to like music or painting or anything like
Yeah.
that to invoke emotion. It was film. That was the one that I latched onto immediately.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then that leads me to my next question, because you're the person that got me into independent film, actually.
Oh shit. Okay.
Without
Nice.
you, I would know nothing about independent film in the slightest. So, but that's coming from, me watching YouTube reviews of you doing it.
Sure.
So back in the day, like, how are you? When did the love for indies start for you, or was that something that just came on your first trip to Sundance?
No, it started, I think it actually started, first thing that just came to mind, I haven't thought about this in a long time, but I used to love going into Blockbuster and getting the
Dude.
latest, hot movie, as well as looking around, literally just browsing and like, wow, that cover looks weird. I want that. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
just going by the cover and not having a clue what it was. It wasn't like a movie I'd
I
ever
love that.
heard of before. Before I started doing that though, I thought that those movies were shitty, like any movie I hadn't thought of. Not that I thought it was shitty
Yeah.
after watching it, but like if I hadn't heard of it, if it
Then
wasn't
what
a
is
big
this?
movie
Yeah,
in
exactly.
theaters, yeah, I was like, well, this is just like a bad movie that people are just trying to get like some idiot to watch and get their $5 or whatever. I never considered that there's like good movies that are just not big movies. It didn't dawn on me until I was a little older. And then yeah, once I started, then I also early on remember the After Dark Horror Festival or whatever the hell it was called.
Yep.
After Dark Film Festival. I loved that. Was the thing where I was like, ooh, this is cool. And you could go and rent. I remember, I think it was also Blockbuster. I would go in and there was like 8 to 10 movies in a row that had like similar boxes with different artwork on them that had like the After Dark at the top and bottom kind of deal.
Yes.
And I was like,
oh my goodness.
whoa, these are all like a weird like film festival kind of thing. What is this?
Mhm.
And I would watch all of those. And then when I started doing reviews on them, because I definitely did reviews for those, part of me was like, this is cool because like I'm gonna be the only person talking about these, and like I can tell
Exactly.
people like, here's a movie you've never heard of. And I didn't really understand that, like, there was definitely like a hipster element for sure, because this was at a time in my life where I was into well, hipster wasn't a thing actually, probably even at that point really, but I was into like emo music and emo
Mhm.
bands and stuff, and there was definitely that whole sort of like, oh, this band is getting big now, oh, they're not cool anymore, like sellouts kind of
For
thing.
sure.
That's like the
For
stupid
sure.
thing from that time. And that translated also into, so it was probably technically my interest in music changing from like Eminem to My Chemical Romance.
Love it.
That switch influenced my movie switch a little bit, because
Mm.
then I was like, well, if there's this for music, there's probably this for movies, like the smaller MySpace band equivalent of a movie. And that's what I started looking for basically. And I started doing the things, and I did the reviews because I was like, well, I'll be the only person that did this, so anyone that saw it will find my review specifically, so that'll be cool. And then also I can tell people about these movies they've never heard of, and I just kind of feel cool because I'm like, when someone commented like, I've never even heard of this, I'm like, that's cool.
Yep.
It feels like I'm in like a secret club or something.
Everyone's gonna watch a new secret flick to get in one by one.
Yeah, I mean, and then of course that turned into, I started, I was like, well, if there's film festivals that I can watch these things, like, the After Dark Film Festival,
Mhm.
maybe let me see what's available to me in New York. And I started going to, there was one called oh man, I don't even remember the name of it. Gen Art Film Festival was one that I
Okay.
would go to in New York. And it was a small festival, but I saw some of my favorite films I've ever seen there. And I was like,
Wow.
that's where I realized, I was like, nobody knows that these movies exist, but these movies just rocked my world and like are my new favorite movies. And
Do you remember
I
what they
would have
were from
never
that
known.
year off the top of your head?
Absolutely. The Wild Hunt is one of them. I want to say that's maybe 2009 or something.
Okay.
The Wild Hunt, Mercy. Those are two of my all-time favorite movies, and they were at this film festival, the small film festival. And I think so that was like 2009 or so. Then that's what inspired me to finally go big and go to Sundance and stuff like that, and South by Southwest, and start really going for it. So, but it was just like the thrill. It was almost like a FOMO thing where it was like, but if I'm seeing these incredible films, like, what am I missing?
Yeah.
I'm missing all the best movies, man.
And then that leads to you going, wait, now I have from this nation's movies to watch. They got blockbusters, they got indie movies,
Oh my
and then it
God,
never
forget
ends.
about it. Yeah, and then you're like, wait a minute, I'm only watching American movies. Wait a minute. Like,
and like
Crazy.
where you're at now, like how do you balance like just wanting to watch something new and wanting to just, you know, stick to the same old favorites? Because it's tough, dude. It's so tough to just not put on
Yeah.
X-Men every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know, although I will say I understand that. And like I see the memes and like I get it, you know, where it's like a movie that's on my list, a movie I've seen
Yeah.
a million times kind of
Yeah.
meme, you know. Totally get it. But at the same time, I'm pretty good with that actually. I will rewatch movies with a friend more often than I will rewatch it just on my own. So that's a special different situation. It doesn't feel like just rewatching the movie. If you're watching it with a new person, it kind of feels like you're getting a new experience out of it. If they haven't seen it before, you get to see their reaction.
Yeah.
And if they have seen it before, you might just chat throughout and talk about what you like about it and stuff. So that's different. I'm pretty good about watching new movies that I want to watch. I mean, we're in the middle of South by Southwest online right now.
Yeah.
So I've got I'm going to watch a couple more flicks after this. So I'm pretty good about watching new movies versus old movies, other than if I like rewatch them to show a friend or rewatch with a friend that's seen it already and loves it.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's tough for me, dude. I wish I could say the same. I
know it's tough. I know.
I have the hardest time. And just recently, and this all ties back into PMI too, I finally got around to watching, I don't even know if you remember this movie, man. Simon Killer.
I bet I will.
Do you know?
Excellent movie. What did he just do recently?
Bro, The Devil
what
All
did
the
he just do
Time. The
recently?
Devil All the Time.
That's what it was. But then there's also, I think there's also another one even
In
that
between,
maybe,
he did a movie, I believe. Correct?
yeah, but the Devil All the Time was
Antonio
the one
Campos,
I think that when I looked it up and I was like, I know that name, that son of a bitch.
And that's
I think he might have just done something at Sundance. We'll have to look at, you know what? I'll look it up real quick. Let me look it up while
absolutely.
But so I mean, that
Dude.
was definitely one of the ones that I remember loving.
And see, that's the funny thing, is that
peripheral thing,
bro, the flashes. See, this is the thing, man. I remember you talking about that movie when I was a kid, right? Put it on my Netflix list years ago, and then it just, you know, on and off Netflix. I haven't seen it, and then last year it was back on again. I was like, oh, I remember Eric talking about this, going crazy about this movie, and finally saw it. Oh my goodness, guys, Simon Killer. Can we talk about Simon Killer for a little bit, dude? Because you're the only person I've had on the show that's seen it.
Dude, absolutely. Yeah, well, I was gonna say, nobody knows this freaking movie. And also I can't find. I could have sworn there was a new movie that he either. I guess I'm only thinking of Devil All the Time. Yeah, I could have sworn there was another one. Maybe there's something on the way.
In the works,
I just checked
maybe,
Letterboxd and it didn't come out. Maybe, but Devil All the Time. I remember, when I looked it up, I was like, that son of a bitch.
Dude,
yeah.
Yeah, Simon Killer, man. I mean, like, Brady Corbett is an actor that doesn't get nearly enough love.
No, what is he up to? What the hell? We need him in more stuff.
Isn't he made a movie recently that I'm not sure if you saw in the past couple years called Vox Lux with Natalie Portman and Jude Law.
Natalie Portman, yes. I didn't see it, but I know it. Yes.
Yeah, so I think that's what he's doing now. But man, I wish he would continue acting, because I watched that and Marcy May Marlene back to back, and seeing him in both those flicks, like, man, this dude's great. I would love to see him do more stuff.
Agreed. And of course, you think of Funny Games with him and Michael Pitt,
which is a remake that I actually really like, man.
We're due for the third remake, Michael Haneke. What the hell?
Make another one. Come on.
Or the second remake, technically.
Second remake
version of it.
Please give it to us. But dude, Simon Killer. I mean, this is a movie. I've never seen a movie like that. Seriously, the way
what is it, 2011 or something? 2011,
2012, I think.
Is that right? Okay, because I know I saw it at
film
Sundance.
Festivals, probably.
I saw it at Sundance release. For sure.
Yeah.
Yep. I remember.
And like it. First of all, it doesn't feel aged at all. It feels like a movie that came out within the past year, even.
I have to watch it again. You watched it more recently or no?
Just last year for the first time.
Oh, okay, there you go. So I have to watch it again. It's been a decade for me, roughly. If it came out, whatever, if I saw it in 2011, 2012. But I mean, I remember the visuals of it. I don't remember, and I remember, isn't it about like he follows girls home or something like that?
Dude, it is such a weird movie. Like, in the beginning, it just seems like he's like a pretty unassuming guy, and then it seems like he has like some weird fetishes, and then it becomes this whole other type of movie where they start conning people, and that's the real movie.
Right.
Yeah, and then just pure insanity.
I think I'm due for a rewatch of that. I'm actually going to put it on my list with I'm visiting a friend next week, and we have a little list of movies that we want to get through. I'm going to add that to the list because she showed me The Devil All the Time. I hadn't seen it, and she watched it again and showed me, because she loved it. And then that's when I realized, I was like, wait a minute, this guy made a movie that you would. Oh no, wait a second. You know what? I'm an idiot. This is why I was thinking about Simon Killer recently. This is why I was
Okay.
thinking about that director, because I had this conversation with my friend, and it turns out she has seen Simon Killer, so it won't be going on the list. That's what that's what it
Gotcha.
was. I
Gotcha.
looked up Simon Killer and saw that he did The Devil All
Devil
the
All
Time.
the
It was
Time.
reversed of what I thought. That's what it was. Yes,
Okay.
yes. This is, my friend would be laughing though if she saw this, because we've had this conversation like 3 times because I keep forgetting what the order of events was. That's what it was.
Gotcha.
That's what it
Gotcha.
was. So I guess I won't be watching it with her anytime soon. I need to watch it on my own then.
Yeah, dude, it's a crazy movie. And then that got me more hyped for Devil All the Time. And I don't know how did you feel about that movie? Because I was kind of underwhelmed, if I can be honest.
I thought it was good. I mean, it came and went for me. It certainly didn't make my top 10 or anything like that, but I liked it. Did that came out last year, right? Yeah, this is 2020.
Yes,
Yeah, that it came out. I liked it. I thought the performances were very good. It just didn't like grab me necessarily, and it didn't have a vibe certainly like Simon Killer that stuck with me forever. You know what I mean?
No.
Like I can still picture the flashing lights. Oh my gosh, insanity.
There's a shot or a scene in that movie. It's a one take, and it's just like in a nightclub with LCD sound system backing it, and it's one of the greatest scenes in my opinion. Like one of my favorite scenes in any movie now. Such a great movie.
I'm gonna have to go back. I'm due for a rewatch. That excites me.
Please do. Yes, but yeah, Devil All the Time, man. Devil All the Time. That one. So many great actors and so many great performances. Even though I didn't love the film, I mean, so many great performances within it. But dude, it just felt like if you got a hammer and it just had the word bleakness on it, and just beat me to death with it.
It's just too much.
It was just too much.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because there was I feel like I'm already mixing it up with other movies that I've seen since, like at Sundance I saw a movie that was pretty bleak. Can't think of the name right now. But it was okay. It was actually kind of like almost like a Funny Games but less. So that's funny that we mentioned that too. But less. Don't get too excited. I wouldn't necessarily say you got to run out and see it.
Yeah, I'll stay
not bad, but not great. But I'm mixing it up a little bit with. I think I'm starting. So The Devil All the Time. The problem is really that just like the fact that it can blur together with another movie for me kind of says everything I need to say.
It just has a lot of similar moments from other films, just all combined. Yeah. Take it up or 2 notches darker, and then throw it on the tape.
But good though. Good. I liked it.
The direction is still so good, man. The direction is still, I mean, he knows his way around a camera for sure, without a doubt. Antonio Campos is phenomenal. But man, I gotta ask, what are some like of the films, because you haven't been doing reviews, man? We gotta know what's some of the stuff from the past couple years that you've really, really dug.
Well, I still put out a top 10 though every year, or top 10, whatever. I put out my favorite movies of the year list every year. I just do it on Letterboxd, of course.
Yeah.
But nothing major. But
you just threw up. Just plug it real quick. You just threw up your one for last year, correct? For 2020.
I just threw up my 2021, because I always try to do it before the Oscar nominations come out, just so I don't get like swayed by the Oscar nominations. And I like to just do it on my own without knowing what's been nominated. And I saw that the Oscar noms were tomorrow or whatever, and I was like, oh shit, I forgot to put out my list, and I just quickly it had been done. I just needed to like rearrange the order a little bit. And so I was like, oh crap, right, let me put this up. It was like the middle of the night. Let me just throw this up real quick before the Oscar noms in like 4 hours. But I will say my top 3 are ones that certainly back in the day I would have reviewed. They would have been like the movies that like nobody's hearing about kind of thing. My top 3, I will say my top 5 of it's not in technically a top 10 or 15 or whatever order. It's just these are my favorites, but it's in some order. But I would say the top 5 can kind of fluctuate, and then the rest of them can fluctuate as well. Like it's those were my 5 favorites. Put them in kind of whatever order you want, and then the rest of them you can kind of put in whatever order you want to. But the way that I have it listed though, I have it it's in order. I think I have Bloody Nose, Empty Pockets. Have you seen that?
I have not. I feel like I'm about to say that to every movie you say. I'm horrified.
But not 9 days. I don't think 9 days is out yet.
It's not out yet. That's one already on my watch list for sure. Yeah.
But okay, yep. And then it's 9 days, I think, is actually the third one. And then In Between, which was my number 1 for most of the year. And then I switched it with Bloody Nose, Empty Pockets, because after a year, I realized I was thinking about Bloody Nose, Empty Pockets more. But originally, the one that I had for a while, for all year as my number 1, that is now technically number 2, is called The Killing of Two Lovers.
Ooh, interesting title. I've not heard of this one either.
That's got a cool non-spoilery trailer out. I don't do trailers, but like obviously I watched that trailer when it came out since I'd already seen the film, and it was pretty safe to watch and very, very cool.
Okay.
Obviously, nothing beats going in without seeing any trailer, but just for anyone that does
It's
watch
a
trailers, it's a
mentality
pretty good
that
trailer.
works, and it's changed
Yeah.
my movie going experience extremely. So thank you.
It seems like a lot of people do that now. I think that like that's become not a crazy thing. I think a lot of
Listen,
people
I
avoid
remember you
trailers these days.
saying that putting on the headphones sometimes when the trailers are going on. I see people doing that so
Leave
often
the
now.
theater.
Yeah.
I completely leave the theater. I used to. Now I've gotten pretty good at just completely ignoring. I can just like look down at my phone and not pay attention. So
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, no. Bloody Nose Empty Pockets is streaming. You can watch that.
Okay.
I think it's streaming. I'm pretty sure it's streaming now. Maybe like on Amazon. Don't read anything going in. Watch it and then read about it after. And that's all I'll say.
Gotcha.
And then Killing of Two Lovers. I don't know if that's out yet, but it got a little trailer, a little teaser trailer. That is excellent. And it's kind of funny because my 2020 favorites are going to be on people's 2021 lists. Yeah, well, I decided a long time ago, like, you know, if I saw it in 2020, it's on my 2020 list.
Yeah, man, that's just how it has to be. It makes it too complicated otherwise.
It's too complicated, yeah. And then 9 Days is on your list. So how did you hear about 9 Days? Just because of the cast, or
dude?
Where'd that come up?
Every single person that has seen this movie has told me it's amazing. It's one of the best movies they've seen in years.
Buckle up. Oh
my goodness. I mean, the cast
is
an
emotional experience. Yeah, it's a very emotional experience for sure.
Oh my goodness. And I'm a crier too, dude. I don't know, man. I cry during everything. So this is gonna be rough.
You'll be weeping. You'll be like shaking crying in this one.
No. Dude, I mean,
it's pretty intense.
I'll tell you the truth, dude. This is a funny memory we like to bring up on this show, and I gotta ask you what's your first now, because the first movie I cried during, and it was like a shake and cry, dude. Prometheus, dude. Tell me why.
Prometheus. I don't know. Which part? Fake
Tom Hardy, aka Logan Marshall Green. You know, he's ready to put it all on the line and just die for the cause and get flamethrowered, bro. As a child,
I remember
devastating.
Yeah. I can tell you, I know for sure. I think my depending on which year they came out, you have to look it up, but it was either one or the other. It was either in Tarzan when it was either in Tarzan, the animated film, when it's been a long time, but I guess the gorilla mom dies.
Yes, or the dad.
It's been a long time.
One of them dies.
I think it's the mom. I don't know if there is there even a dad in it?
He's not the dad, but he's like the leader of like the gorillas, you know.
But I think there's one gorilla that sort of like becomes his mother.
Yes.
And it's been a long time since I watched it. I think maybe she dies. But I also know for sure. Have you ever seen The Kid with Bruce Willis?
Oh my goodness, dude.
So whenever we have to look up, both of these were cries in theaters, and so whichever one came out first was the first one. Technically, we have to look it up. It honestly might have been that The Kid came first, but I don't remember. It was when. Do you remember the movie well enough when he's like, "But the screw, I got the screw," or whatever.
Oh my, dude. First of all,
and he's like, your mom's dying. Your mom's dying. Do you get it? He's like, "But I got the screw."
What you did today, you're killing her.
I found the screw, Dad. Look, the screw.
Stop crying.
Here's the screw, Dad. Look, here it is. Here it is. I found it.
Stop crying.
Daddy, look at the screw.
And it literally was like making me like shake, cry. And for both of those, the reason I remember is because for both of those movies, I was sitting next to my mom, and my mom, my mom loved both of these moments, and also was very emotional because it told her how much she meant to me. You know what I mean?
So
like,
sweet.
If I'm watching these movies and I'm sad about something that happened to the mom, obviously I love my own mom. I understand the concept, you know.
Wow, what a crowning moment for your guys' relationship in that theater, huh?
Absolutely. Well, and I'll tell you what, if I don't know that I would ever have a wedding. Not that I wouldn't get married, but I don't know that a wedding is really my thing. I don't know. I love going to them. Don't get me wrong. I love going to weddings. But
can't stop Eric from a good time.
No. But for the longest time, I don't know that I would have one, and I don't know that. But then people say, well, what if the girl you fall in love with wants to have a wedding? And I'm like, but would I fall in love with a girl who wants to have a wedding? You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't we sort of be similar
on the
enough
same page
people that maybe we both? Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Now,
for
look,
sure.
I'm open to anything. I'm 30 years old. When I'm 40, I'm going to be a totally different person. When I was 20, I was a different person.
Yeah, of
Who
course.
knows? But right now, I don't know that I'd have a wedding. Not that I wouldn't get married, but I don't know if I'd have a wedding. All this to say, if I did, my mom and I've always said that we would dance to "You'll Be in My Heart" from Tarzan.
Wow.
Of course.
Of course. And what a moment that would be, brother. You might as well just get married just to do it, man. At
Just
that
to
point.
do it. You know, my sister got married. My sister got married like a year and a half ago. And my mom and I said, we were like, we should have done it because Jillian, my sister, and her husband would have absolutely let us do it. Like that would have been, it would have been, how funny would it be if like,
You guys
you do the mother-father dance. The mother-father dance. What am I saying? The daughter-father dance, then the son-mother dance, the traditional wedding dances that you see. And then it's like, and we've got one more special dance because he is the black sheep of the family and may not ever have a wedding.
And he loves Tarzan. Put your hands together.
We're gonna let him get his poor mother get the dance that she deserves. We should have done it. I feel so stupid. We should have done it.
Oh, that would have been epic.
It's okay.
Listen,
fine.
man, Eric, you're invited to my future wedding, bro. Bring your mother along. We'll make it happen.
And we'll do it. All right, thank you.
We'll definitely make it happen.
I appreciate it.
Before we close out, man, two things I gotta ask. The first being the last thing we talked about our very first episode. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, I don't remember the content, so please tell me.
You were just about to get Resident Evil 7. You didn't have a PlayStation, but you were like, I need to play this game. Have you played it at this point? The people got to know, man.
That's the one. Remind me, was that the one that was
First
like kind of
person.
like it reinvigorated the whole thing?
It's first person.
Like
it kind of jump-started everything back. Yeah.
And what's it called? Doesn't it have another name?
Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, I want to say. Yes.
I don't know. Is that right? Okay. But this is the one that like it was the first VR one as well, right?
Yes, correct. Absolutely correct.
Never played it.
I hate you, Eric.
Is it good?
Dude, it's so good. It's so good. I remember thinking like as I was playing it too, Eric is going to love this game. And now, man, you have to get it, dude.
I never got around to it. I don't have any consoles or anything. When I play the Spider-Man games, I borrow Jake Baldino's consoles because I have nothing else. I have no other way to do it. So he has like an extra one lying around for me. And I try to beat I just played Miles Morales and I beat it in a couple of days. Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Awesome.
But I played it to get it, quickly enough to get it back to him. I'm not a completionist. I don't need to 100% these things. I just want to see the story. And so, or I want to play the story. I don't want to just see it. I could watch it online, I guess, but I want to play the Spider-Man games, of course. And I get it back to him. So maybe I'll have to hit him up and ask if I can do it for Resident Evil. Yes. Or maybe at this point, maybe I'll just wait for like the new one with that big sexy lady that's coming out.
With the big sexy witch, man. Big sexy vampire witch. You got to get it, bro.
BSW energy.
Have you ever thought about doing a commentary track for a game? Something of that, because you guys did like a little tad. You dabbled with it a little bit back in the day.
I did Portal years ago.
Yeah.
I did a playthrough. I don't even know if they were called Let's Plays at the time. I don't know if that term had even been around by that point. But that was probably maybe in like 2011 or 2012. I did that. So I don't know if that was a popular thing. It wasn't. As usual, that was the thing that I did. Just because I was like, oh, this would be fun. I didn't know that it would become like such a hot thing, Same with commentary tracks. I feel like we get lumped in with like reaction channels and stuff. No, not complaining or anything like that because it's I love watching. There's a lot of great reaction people out there, but we started doing this so long before that became like a hot thing.
For sure.
And it feels similar where I didn't know I did this like playthrough of Portal just because I loved Portal and I never capitalized on it. Like I could have probably really ran with that, you know what I mean? But I didn't know that it was going to become such a thing. And so, no, I don't know that I would, but that was really fun when I did Portal because I know that's a game I knew that I could finish in about 90 minutes. And so I was like, this won't be so grueling. I can just do this in 90 minutes. I feel like if a game is short enough, maybe I would consider doing it like that. But if it was, hours and hours and hours, I don't know.
That's a commitment
I would be able
at
to
that point.
do
For
it as
sure.
much. Yeah. And also I just, I think that's almost like a whole different beast. The people that do video game stuff like that, it's like a whole different beast than what we do with movies and shows. So I mean, and I have a lot of respect for it. That's a lot of time to keep people entertained. So yeah.
Well, I hope you check out Resident Evil 8 and 7, dude. You gotta let me know what you think once you play them.
So it's really wow. That was 7, and now 8 is coming out. It took a long time for 8 to come out. Damn.
Yeah, 2, 3, 4
I'm
years.
surprised there wasn't another one. Well, I guess they do come out every few years. I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
They had a couple
I'll
spin-offs
look
and
into
small
it.
stuff. Yeah, that's about it. Please do.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah, I'll look into it. I would love to play it. I think I should probably do the VR version of it. So
Dude,
maybe I'll go
terrifying,
and
yes.
I'll hit up the new. I don't know if you keep up with Jake over on Game Ranks, but they have a new space.
Yep.
Maybe I'll go and when I go to check
Gotta
out the
try
new
it out.
space,
Yeah, man.
I'll ask if he can set it up for me in advance.
Absolutely. Let me know how that goes. But I gotta ask, last question,
Absolutely.
man. Tips for all the people that are watching this, that are fans of yours, that are just getting into the game. What are some words of wisdom you want to leave with them off at the end of this episode?
So to a point, it's the same thing as always. Just do it.
Yeah.
Just start. Because you can always. I mean, look what I did. You can always private your old stuff. Once you
Yep.
get your groove. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then you can bring it back, like I'm doing. But just do it, and you can always upload it just to understand how the process works. Because if you keep thinking about it, you'll never know. It reminds me of the van thing. I was like, I don't know exactly what I'm doing, but I'm gonna do it and learn as I go. And it worked. That was the only way to do it. That's what I always tell people to do now, is just get a van, put a mattress in the back, and hit the road and see how it feels. Same thing with creating content. Like, just make something, even if it's bad, make it, put it out there, put it up. And you can always take it down if you want to. So
It's true.
that really is, I mean, it's cliche, and it's the same thing. I'm a broken record my whole dang life here, but that really is the main thing. Like, don't worry about the quality right off the bat. Don't worry about look back at MKBHD's first videos. I look at that versus now. Imagine if he had been like, oh, this isn't high quality enough back then. Forget about it. Also, it's kind of cool to be able to see your growth from the old stuff to the new stuff. So
it's so awesome.
No matter what, if you're thinking about it, just go for it. And I mean, again, it's such a cliche, but don't think of it as a cliche. Think of it literally and take it literally.
Exactly. Man, thanks for coming on Chew on This, Eric. It has been an absolute
Thanks for
blast,
having me, dude. I'm so glad you recorded, right?
I got it on this time.
Oh, shit.
And then imagine I forgot to click the record button.
Wait, let's be clear, by the way. You didn't do anything wrong last time. Let's be clear. That was
yeah, we can talk about that a little bit. We literally finished the episode. I thought to myself, man, Eric's such a kind guy. I'll never get the chance to do this again. Let me put this up. And then 2 days later, it just disappears from existence.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, fingers crossed, knock on wood. I'm knocking on wood right here. That everything goes smoothly with this. Download it, put it on a flash drive.
I am saving this for, maybe this won't even go up. I'm scared to even put it up. Just keep it for myself in a temple somewhere.
It's an NFT. You got to buy it.
Yeah, you guys got to purchase this one. Sorry, y'all.
Put it in a freaking vault, man. No, this was super fun, and I can't wait till we talk again in the future.
Dude, thanks, man. And any plugs you got to shout out before we hop off here?
Just check out pretty much it, I guess. That's really the main thing that I'm doing. And I'm off pretty much all social media except for Instagram for now. I hate that I'm on that. I'm off. I deleted my Facebook, but I'm still on a Facebook product. So fuck me, I guess, but I'm off Twitter. You can, if you want to follow anything I'm doing, I post van stuff and stories, on Instagram. I'm at Striffler. And that's really it. I'm not promoting anything else other than just the usual stuff right now.
Awesome, man.
But I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Gotta give the boy the plug. Come on. like you need more help.
Hey, I got in trouble for saying that in college one time.
Smoke weed every day.
You probably, the RAs come down the hall with Eric. You got that green?
They heard me yelling it. And that's a fake story because I didn't go to college, ladies and gentlemen.
I was gonna say, I don't remember, Where's
that's the joke.
We got to see the social network, Eric's Chronicles in social network form, dude, from back in the day, his fake college years. As the plug, make that the next film, please, God.
That's it.
But anyway, guys, this has been another episode of Chew on This. Obviously, you're watching this on the channel probably, or listening to it on Spotify. We just got the audio formats up everywhere last week. It's on Apple Podcasts now, all that good stuff. So please follow us there. Subscribe to all the audio forums. Subscribe here for more cool content. We're going to keep Chew on This going. Got a couple long form videos coming out the next couple weeks. Thanks, guys, for watching. See you next time.
I love the name, by the way. I love the name.
Oh,
it's such a good name.
Bless you, Eric. And we will end with that. Thank you.